I state your full name.
I, Clarice Villa,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I'll support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that
I will bear true faith
I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
and that I will obey the orders
and that I'll obey the orders
of the President of the United States
of the President of the United States
and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to regulations in the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
in the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Nice job. You did it. Yay. Okay.
Now, just to kind of give you an overview as to what this video is going to be about, I just want to let you know that even though I am specifically going to talk about and I'll show you what my packet looked like for the Navy Nurse Candidate program, I feel like the information that I'm going to be giving you in this video can be used not just for this program but also for your other opportunities that you may come across with other scholarship opportunities. Maybe you want to study abroad, you want to apply for an internship, a research program, whatever it may be. This video is going to help you out with that, just because throughout my college experience I pretty much had the same resume, personal statement, and interview style, and I just adjust it based on what specific thing I am applying for. Now onto the application. My resume did not look aesthetically pleasing in my opinion. It was just pretty simple, but I'll just talk about the content of my resume, which I think is what made me stand out. So this is actually what my resume looked like when I sent it to my recruiter. The only difference is that I removed my address and my phone number as well as my email address, which I had underneath my name. You know, at the time I was thinking of how it would help me stand out because not everyone goes to study abroad, especially nursing students. So I made sure to put it in. I then went on to list my honors and activities throughout college as well as even some high school experience. I highly recommend that you go sign up for extracurricular activities, get out there, do things that not everyone else is doing. It's gonna help you stand out, not just for any scholarship application, but also for when you start applying for jobs. I listed things like travel conferences that I went to, study abroad. I did hold a couple leadership positions, so obviously the military is big when it comes to leadership. They want to see that you're going to be able to serve as an officer, especially if you want to go in as a Navy nurse. So I made sure to incorporate that by talking about how for my nursing class I was the community engagement head. I also put in my ambassador positions at my university, my experience as a volunteer in the hospital. This hospital experience, I did not specify the number of years or what that entailed in my resume for some reason, but I remember talking about it during my interview where I explained to them that I volunteered for 3 years, I rotated in different units, languages, put that down. Hopefully they're going to consider that as an asset. If you know any other languages, put that in. So I made sure to include the work experiences that I did have, even though they weren't necessarily related to the medical field, just because I think that would show the scholarship committee that this person, she gets good grades and she's also working at the same time. That means she's able to multitask and to balance her time among different responsibilities. So even if you feel like your job may not be all that impressive, go ahead and put that down. Now onto my personal statement. I'll go ahead and show my essay on the screen. I'm not gonna read everything just because that would sound really cheesy, especially when it comes to certain parts of my personal statement. But I'll go ahead and talk about how I put this together. So with the personal statement, I did not really get a prompt. Basically, it was just my recruiter telling me to write an essay explaining why I want to be a US Navy nurse and officer and why I should be the one selected. I reached out to somebody who was accepted into the program a year ahead of me, and I also read her personal statement, which really helped me. So I started off with this question: what do you want to be when you grow up? Just because it's something that I've always had trouble talking about. And I basically go on to explain that simply stating a profession does not truly depict my aspirations in life, because I have a lot of goals that go beyond being a civilian nurse. And that's why I want to go into this program, because I'm looking for something that's going to offer me an adventure and a greater purpose in life. And I go on to talk about this in my conclusion as well. The second part is basically me just talking about my personal story moving here from the Philippines and feeling grateful for the opportunities that I have as a US citizen. And then I go on to talk about my career goals. How serving as a Navy nurse aligns with my career goals, because I want something that's going to challenge me mentally and physically and push me out of my comfort zone. I also am really passionate about traveling, and that's something that I would love to have, not just for vacation, but as part of my career. So this seems to be the perfect fit. So I actually went on the Navy website, which I recommend that you do. And I'll go ahead and link that in the description box, because their website gives you exactly what it is that they want. So honor, courage, and commitment, those are the values that the Navy holds highly. And that's why I talked about it here. I also went and addressed the fact that I know being in the military is going to be challenging, but I look to it as an opportunity to grow stronger personally and professionally. And for my last paragraph, I kind of circle back to what I started off with in the beginning. The question was, what do I want to be when I grow up? And I found the answer by looking at the Navy nurse brochure, and it's to become a healer of body, mind, and spirit, ambassador of hope, which sounds really cheesy, but I think it works well for this personal statement. For my interview, the way I prepared for it was I started out with writing an introduction to myself, which is something that I've already gotten used to, again, by applying to different things in the past and having had experiences in past interviews. So with the Navy Nurse Candidate Program, there's a requirement to complete 2 interviews, one of which has to be done face-to-face, either via Skype or FaceTime, or by meeting in person. My first interview was with an enlisted Navy personnel. If I remember correctly, he was about to complete his 20 years, and so he was getting ready for retirement. That one was very casual. It was more like a conversation rather than him interviewing me, because from what I remember, I just introduced myself to him and he asked me why I'm applying for this program. After that, he just asked me if I had any questions for him, and so it was really interesting to get an in-depth perspective as to serving 20 years in the military. My second interview was with a Navy nurse. I don't remember if she was doing active duty or in the reserves, but that one actually was quite intense. Nothing too difficult, but just she was really trying to understand why I'm applying for this program, what it is that I want to gain, whether or not I would be a good fit. So for these questions, I just kind of sat down and brainstormed what type of questions would I ask somebody who wants to join the military, and I went ahead and answered them myself. If you also write your essay before you do your interview, it's going to help a lot, because you can refer to what you talked about in your essay and kind of use that to help you answer questions for the interview. These are just little notes for myself. I definitely expanded more on the actual interview. And this question, which I think is really tough: what comes first, being a nurse or being an officer? I think I was actually asked this question and I did use this statement. I don't remember exactly what happened after that, if the Navy nurse gave me a scenario and what I ended up saying. Now that I've actually spoken with a couple other Navy nurses just from reaching out to them and trying to get insight from them. The right answer to this, if there is one, is being an officer for sure. You are an officer first before you are a nurse, and I think this is just something I'm going to learn with experience, because right now I don't really see how these two responsibilities would be in conflict with each other. I also recommend writing questions down that you're really curious about for the end of the interview. That way you get the answers and you don't forget to ask them, because sometimes if you get nervous, you forget that you actually wanted to know about this specific thing. And it also looks good when you come in prepared with questions showing that you are very much interested in this position. With the letters of recommendation, I think I may have submitted about 10 letters from professors, advisors, people I worked with, and directors of the volunteer programs I participated in. That's why I recommend participating in extracurricular activities, because you not only get to improve your resume, but you also meet people that can write you letters of recommendation. I didn't actually see these letters, and I don't know how many letters my recruiter included in my packet, but I did ask for them after the application period was over, just so I can have it in a binder. This first one is from the director of the volunteer program / leadership program I was a part of. Pause this video and read it if you want. Move on to the next one, which is the form that the Navy can actually give you. You can use this form to have the person fill it out and just write a narrative at the bottom, or they can attach a letter. But for this one, it's from my coworker. This next one is from my nursing advisor. One easy way, I think, to get to know people that can write letters for you is to go into their office and just have a conversation with them, even when you don't really need anything. Last one that I'm going to show you is from my supervisor. Now, hopefully this video helps you out, and if you have any other questions, let me know in the comments below.